I can see that
And
we have a live on Facebook, Cyan.
awesome.
So,
Yep.
hello to all the live
Hello.
people.
Yes. To all those that are here joining us. My name is Anushka Alborzian. I'm an empowerment health coach and an energetic healer. And Jacob, please introduce yourself.
Hello. Yeah. Hi, this is Jacob Moya, and I am. I call myself a therapist. Some people call me a healer as well. So I work with energies inside of the body. My main goal is to help you to release all the energies that are not allowing, better say, all the blockages that are not allowing your energy to flow properly. That's what I do. And I have a physical brick and mortar practice, and then I have another practice that I do online over the phone.
Yeah, and you're very humble. You're more of an energetic master shaman is what I see you as. And so I really do want to have people know just how amazing Jacob is. And we started doing these healers talks to bring more of the massive amounts of knowledge that you have to more people. So this is great. And today we are talking about moon cycles, because we all notice things during them, right? I know so many people that don't understand what's happening emotionally, and next thing you know, it's either a full moon or a new moon or something is happening, right? So that's what we wanted to talk about today. So start off, how does a moon cycle affect us when it comes to our emotions emotionally?
One of the very first lessons that I received when I started doing this work, when I went through my personal awakening, that, by the way, was done so many years ago when the earth didn't have the type of energy, the supporting energy that we all are enjoying right now. So it was a little bit more slow, the process. It was more like step by step. But in another way, it helped me a lot because I was able to understand a lot of things before I moved to the next level. And one of the very first things that I understood is that we as humans, we've been in this process of developing for centuries, right? We've been in the earth walking as humans for a long time, and our body is been naturally adapting little by little to what we are right now. And so basically all the natural practices that we used to have really serve us. And that's actually a principle that I use a lot to heal people when they have sickness or emotional issues. It's just try to find what is it that they try to balance, because everything in nature goes into balance. Now, last talk we were talking about the cycles, that we have major cycles, minor cycles, and so on and so forth. And one of the ways that you can notice the cycles that the earth is going through, and what is important is, well, because the earth have magnetism, and the magnetism of the earth gets affected based on the cycle that it is. And the way that we can see it physically is with the moon. So when I was trying to understand why the moon and how the cycles match the moon and so on and so forth, one of the images that came to me while I was meditating was that the ancestors, my stuff is very Mayan. So to the Mayan ancestors, the priests and the wise guys were up on top of the pyramids and top of the mountains, just learning and trying to understand the messages that they were seeing on the sky, because they also noticed patterns in the sky that related to them. And based on the patterns of the sky, they were able to see what they were going to do. But in order for them to see the sky clearly, they needed to have darkness in the sky. And when you have a full moon, it's illuminating. So it's like it do not allow you to see clearly the messages. And then finally click inside of my mind. And I said, yeah, we get blinded by the moon and we cannot see clearly, you know.
Mhm.
So therefore we react, because when we react, we have an emotional reaction out of fear or out of the unknown, you know. So when we are blinded is when we cannot see, because it was hard for me to understand, because being dyslexic for me was like, you know, it's a full moon, everything is illuminated, it's easy to walk the road, right? Than in darkness. So it should be easier.
Right.
And what I understood finally was that, well, because it is bright, then the priest can come down into the village, and the people can do the chores, but they don't have to go to sleep because they have light, natural light, and then they can come and share what they experience with the people and see the advances that they had based on the previous information that they bring. And that's how they were building up this knowledge, you know, this uh, amazing wisdom that they were passing through generations and writing in stones.
Mm.
So that's how I understand it. You know, the earth goes through cycles, and then the cycle, what it helps you to see what cycle the earth is in is the moon, you know. And then if you take it another step further, is like paying attention also where the sun is coming up and where it's coming down, you know, sunset, and in which part of your vision is going, because the sun keeps moving, you know, it goes one way and then comes the other. So you can understand better the cycle. Though nowadays we have a watch, you know, we have a calendar, you know, so
Right.
it's not
It's
that
very easy
we
to
don't have
know.
that need anymore. But what we can do now is to use the moon cycles to understand us and the world around us better. That's what it is.
So then emotionally, when it's like a new moon, for instance, versus a full moon, we're going to notice differences,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Because I know for
Yeah.
me personally, when it's a full moon, I don't even know it's a full moon. I just can tell all of a sudden I'm more agitated and I
Yeah.
feel more like a werewolf.
Yeah,
Which is
it's
where it
like
came
restless,
from.
right?
What was that?
Restless, a little bit restless.
Yeah.
And the reason is because now that we have science, we can understand that we have a full moon, because basically the position of the earth is not blocking the brightness of the sun, and is getting reflected completely into the moon, and that moon is reflecting that energy to us, right? So basically it's a non-stop um, energy source that we keep receiving. So now our bodies are designed to go to sleep at night and wake up in the morning. So we are designed to receive energy in the mornings, and go out and do whatever it is that we need to do, work, exercise, whatever, you know, raise children, whatever it is that you do. And then on the evenings, after the sunset, we start getting tired, and it's like we have all these different inner chemicals starting to show up to help us to go to sleep, you know, and then we're supposed to go to sleep at night. Now, it's because the sun is no longer there. It's because we are not receiving the energy of the sun. And if you notice, all the people that usually work the night shift, they start developing things in their body if they don't receive the energy of the sun, because the energy of the sun is something that we need to live. You know, it's vitamin D and other things. So
Much more, yeah.
now
And it raises our
when you
frequency.
receive, right, but if you study physics a little bit, you will notice that like for example, if you want to saturate water with something, you just add, like for example, let's say that you want to put black ink into a glass of water, you know, you add a little bit. Well, if you throw a drop, nothing happens, right? Pretty much the black drop disappears. But you keep adding ink and adding ink, eventually the water is going to be completely black because it's saturated, but it's still on a liquid form because it's still water, but it's saturated. So it becomes a point where it cannot receive anymore. You know, all the molecules inside of the water, they're already affected. so they cannot receive anything else. Okay, that applies to everything else. And to us, if we receive energy of the sun through the day, because that's how what we used to receive, and then we go at night and we keep receiving energy, we are already saturated, right? We reach our limit of energy that we can handle. So what happens is that that energy, instead of going into our lower chakras, immediately start triggering our top chakras, which is your throat, your third eye, and your crown chakra. But because we are not used to working with them, especially in society, in this physical world, what happens is that these also control emotions and everything that you cannot feel. You know, all the emotions get triggered. So for example, if you have a resentment against someone, you're gonna feel it strongly. Mm. If you are in love, you're gonna be way more in love at that during the full moon, and you can see it. I mean, because we have the images of the movies, you know, that lovers just watching the moon, right? The full moon, and it's like, oh God, it's such a gorgeous picture. Well, yeah. It's because of that. It's because your top chakras are enlightened. You know, it's like, boom, you have a lot of energy there, and you can feel more everything. But remember one thing, the moon is so bright that it blinds you and don't allow you to see everything, you know? So it's the worst time for you to make transcendental decisions, decisions that are gonna change your life in the physical environment. Like, for example, sign contracts, deciding to move, traveling plans, you know, that kind of thing is gonna be more challenging, because remember that this is this is not a thing that you are the only one feeling. It's something that is felt by everybody, you know. So everybody is kind of blind, and they're making decisions without having all the information. So if I have to travel on a full moon, I try to avoid it. But if it is, you know, during the full moon, I go with all my patience, you know, and all the patience means that everything that something goes wrong, I'm gonna say, well, we're on a full moon, you know, that's okay, you know, and because it helps you to detach yourself from the event. It helps you to detach yourself from the problem. Like, for example, if you are having an argument with a loved one, you can blame it on the blue moon. You can say, you know what, it's a blue moon thing. You know, I just let my significant other to bring all that energy out, and let's keep moving, you know. And for many women,
you get it, you say, because I know we've many times, right? You've said, okay, so let's not do anything around the full moon. Now, is it,
yes,
and you give it a few days, you say 4 days before,
yes,
4 days after, or something like that,
it's
right?
3 days before the full moon, the day of the full moon, and then 3 days after.
Okay, so pretty much
because energy is not like a switch, you know, that you just turn on and turn off, you know. It goes in crescendo. It goes like boom, 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 until you reach the maximum point, and then you start coming down, 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 down. You know, so those are the dates that I try to avoid. And three is a magical number. It's a mystical number. You know, we talk about this in other lives. If people go through the archives, they can probably see them. Because, you know, it's the third planet from the sun. It's sun, moon, and earth. You know, it's the three major seasons in humans. You know, we go through the birth until we reach adulthood. Then we go through our adulthood, and then we go through our senior years. You know, so it's like this 3 is a magical number. So I start applying it into the calendar, and it worked very well for me. You know, so 3 days before the day off and 3 days after, I try to avoid things, you know, and
so it could be different for each individual then, technically, right?
It is. It is, but you know what? There's, I have good events happen to me in my life during full moon seasons, like physical things, like contracts or people hiring me or doing that kind of thing. So it doesn't mean that it's a rule. It's just like a warning sign. You know, it's like, be careful on this, because chances are that this is going to happen to you. Another thing that can be very interesting as an exercise for you guys, and now that we have the internet resources, go through your last years and check the years that you have a challenging situation, and try to see if your birthday fall on a full moon cycle.
Mm.
You know, try to pay attention to that, because that's also something that I've been noticing in myself. You know,
Mhm.
when my birthday is on a full moon, usually it's a challenging year, and when I'm my birthday is outside of that range of dates, it's like it's a good year for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's for everybody else, you know, but I noticed that. That it's a good
So I
year.
do have a question. It's awesome because it was the next question that I
Hmm.
had on my list too, but it's how does the full moon affect our energy? Energetically, how do we get affected by moon cycles, period, but specifically more so with the full moon is the
Okay, at
question.
one point in my development, I was asking if the moon was male energy or female energy, right? Divine masculine or divine feminine
Mm-hmm.
energy, you know, and because for everybody it's kind of like a female energy.
Mm-hmm.
And in the information that came to me was they have both energies, you know. So during the new moon cycle, it's male energy, is masculine energy, so it supports all the things that are physical. During the full moon we enter into the divine feminine energy, so it supports all the things that are emotional. Like for example, if you want to connect with a loved one, that is the best time, you know. Although it will be, we all will be hypersensitive, you know, it's a good thing, because if you avoid the sensitivity topics, and you are just open yourself up and are vulnerable, because you have the support of a divine feminine energy, you can open up yourself and embrace more and understand more. For example, if you're a man, it will be easier for you to understand the feelings and emotions of a woman, you know, because you have
Makes
that.
sense.
And if you are during the male cycle, it will be easier for the woman to understand the perspective of a male partner, you know. so
Mm-hmm.
so so that's how it is. And that's general, but believe me, there's a whole system of agriculture that they follow the moon cycles like they used to be back in the day, and now they call it like atomic food, or they have a bionic food,
Oh,
something like that.
interesting.
And um, and the only thing that they do is not that they put atomic nutrients they just follow the moon cycles, the natural cycles of the earth. And then the food that they get out of that, it's more nutritious and easier for you to digest.
Yeah.
That's how it is,
And I
you
know
know.
there's a lot of different rituals out there. I used to go to a full moon cycle and then new moon cycles where the full moon cycle was to release everything in the last month, let go of whatever there was that didn't go your way and all the things, and I
Hmm.
can't remember full details. And then the new moon was always to create new, what you want this next month to look like. And it's,
Hmm.
both of them were journaling. And I thought that
Hmm.
was really interesting. With the full moon to release, you want to burn it. But the new moon, when you're creating, you bury it. And so I know there's various rituals out there when it comes to the moon. So it's really cool to know that it has both energies. I didn't realize it has both the female.
Right. Well, in my particular case, I don't follow any ritual in particular. I do when we have a meditation like the one we invited to all the people that are listening to us, that they can come and join our meditation at 7.
Yes.
When we are having the meditations during a full moon, it's different meditation. Sometimes it's even very challenging to get there,
Mm.
because we are so restless and the mind is like, you know. And
Yes.
but when we are finally able to go in, it's amazing. It's amazing, but it's harder, you know. And the way that I see it is just more energy, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how it is.
So
And probably the idea of planting your goals, it will be something like they used to do the planting, because the planting is usually on a new moon.
yeah, it's like planting your ideas or
Yeah.
the seeds, right? Yeah. So then energy wise, emotional wise, because I'm very clear when it's the full moon, I can totally sense something emotional is happening. And when it's the new moon, sometimes I notice a difference and then other times not as much. So I'm curious, what are some of the emotions, energies, and whatnot that you end up having when it is the new moon?
Right. This is the thing. I mean, we are taking, and we talked about this before. We are taking the information from the macro to the micro, right? So the moon cycles will be still at the macro level. You know, we to go to the specific areas of why I having this good full moon and then why I have such bad full moon. It's more at the micro level. You know, it's more individual. It's more about you, and got to be with the age that you have, the sex that you have, the partner that you have, the age of your partner. You know, it's just very specific, and the ideal person to help you with that is not me. Is a numerologist. You know, numerologists can match your cycles
Mm-hmm.
perfectly
Yeah.
to the point, or even an astrologer. In my particular case, I think that the more narrow that I become, the more it didn't work for me in the past, you know? So it's like you get attached to outcomes, you expect things, and then you don't know if it's a placebo effect or is it in reality the energy, right? So
Right.
what I teach to the people and my clients and everybody that is around me is that try to become neutral, you know, to don't have expectations, have goals, have intentions, that's very important, but be neutral, you know, just release all the expectations and embrace everything that comes, because when something bad comes to your life and you embrace it and you accept it instead of rejecting it, you allow the other side of the same coin to show up as well, and nothing can be only bad. It needs to come, because we're in the physical world and it's a world of balance, it needs to come with something good, right? So
Mm-hmm.
just receive the bad, embrace the bad, take the bad, release the bad, and allow the good that is coming with that bad also to come to your life, instead of making a judgment that this is a bad event for me and I am such a bad person, or it's always happening to me, and so on and so
Right.
forth, and rejecting it, and allowing to finish the job so the good thing never comes to your life, right?
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that can affect how you embrace and accept something is the moon. You know, it's totally the moon. If you are in a high performance mode and the event that you are experiencing is something business related, well, like I say, if you're in a new moon, it's like you have all the energy to tackle, and you don't even pay attention to the problem. You just go fix it and go to the other stuff. But if you are on a full moon, what's gonna happen is, because all your emotions are triggered, and then you have the blindness that you don't see all the information, and your top chakras are like beaming. You know, it's very natural for you to feel bad, depressed, so on and so forth. It's normal, but you have to understand that it's not even you. You know, it's also the energy of the moon helping you to feel and realize something. You know, because then we have to move to the other block of knowledge, and the other block of knowledge is nothing happened just because of it. You know, there's a reason why it happens, and that's a particular reason why it happens to you
Everything.
exactly during the full moon cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to also embrace it, but try to figure out why I'm experiencing this. Maybe it's a reminder that you have something, that you've been carrying something from your past that you need to heal emotionally, or let go, or make amends with someone. You know, it can be many things,
Yeah.
depending on the situation.
Yeah, and that's what I love about the full moon, because the emotions are so there. So it actually allows me to look deeper and see what there is to be healed.
Right.
When the emotions aren't there, and I believe that's what causes that blindness. My intuition is all of a sudden shut
Yeah.
off, and it's
Oh
very much
yeah.
human-like, very much 3D, and it's an opportunity for us to actually look at what is there that needs to be healed. And somebody actually made a comment, says, I can't sleep during the full moon. Oh yeah, the same person, Abid Farouk. He says, I can't sleep during the full moon. It's so hard, which makes so much sense because we're more restless. We have more of the emotions, right?
And not just that, you have a lot of energy, right? You are already saturated of energy. So you start bringing energy to areas of your body that you usually don't bring energy. And that's a problem. But there's a solution for it, and that's a beautiful thing. And during our prep for the meditation, we do a couple of exercises that are extremely helpful for the people that receive all that energy of the full moon. Because many times, remember, you are not the only person living and experiencing this. Everybody around you is,
Mm-hmm.
and because it's all about emotions, it's energy, and energy needs to move and go somewhere. And if you are a little bit of an empath, then you're going to receive all that energy. And you is like if you're an empath, it's like if your mission is to bring energy from someone else and put it on yourself, and then carry it and carry it and carry it. And then you find another one, and then you grab energy from that one, and you put it in yourself, on top of yourself, and you keep carrying it and carrying it. Okay, so the idea of the exercises that we do before we go into a meditation is to release, all that extra stuff, all the stuff that you are carrying from everybody else. Once you release all that other stuff, you're going to feel much better, because one of the parts of the exercise, what we do when we bring our hands to our legs, is exactly that. You're releasing to the air all the excess that we've been carrying.
Mm-hmm.
Lastly, one of the things that we don't do on the meditation, but I can give to this person as a tip, because she's been engaging with us, is to use your mouth, tape your mouth when you go to sleep during the full moon, so you can only use your nose, and bring your breathing to the minimum. It's like inhale is like 1, 2, 3, and then exhale 1, 2, 3, and then inhale 1, 2, 3. Just using the nose. That's why I recommend you to tape this. Any tape will do it. It's just like this, because you're gonna forget it. Eventually, you're gonna open up your mouth. You're gonna start breathing through your mouth. But what's gonna happen is gonna bring all your energy back down into balance. And then the last thing that you can do, let me stand up. Hopefully, they can see me. Is just put one hand on your chest, and the other one like below the belly button. Is your heart chakra and your sacral. And do the breathing.
While
like
laying down, of course, right?
Yeah, laying down. Yes. While you're in bed already. And then if you haven't fallen asleep, like in I would say like a minute or two, just switch again, and then do it this way. But don't try to think on how long I've been doing this, and am I doing properly, and oh my God, I forgot to switch my hands. It's not gonna work. Just let everything go, and do the things naturally. That will bring your energy way down. I mean, if you're doing the exercise right now, probably you're gonna feel so relaxed that you're gonna go to sleep right now.
I have another tip actually that works really well for me when I can. I don't typically have that issue for sleep, and when I do, I like to count down. I do the slow breathing, and at the same time, in my head, I count the things that I'm grateful for. I count down from 10. And as I'm listing it in my head, I never when we get to that gratitude frequency, it's a very higher frequency. So therefore, it actually calms the brain. It calms us down overall, and it actually allows you to fall asleep and not have all those emotions and restlessness that are causing you, and anxiety possibly that are causing you to stay up. And for me, I noticed whenever I do that, I never get down to 1. It's always right, like even at 5. The next thing I know, I'm passed out. So that is something else I always share with me.
I never tried that one, but I would love to give it a shot. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful because it may work as well.
And
So,
you're sleeping to gratitude, so why not? Right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're gonna have sweet dreams.
Yes. Yeah, and so this awesome. So I want to see if there's any other questions. And oh, he was also asking what is the reason that I can't sleep? So I feel like we answered that. Let us know if there's any other questions you have around that. Hopefully tonight or the next full moon, I should say, you have a great amount of sleep. And
Oh, yeah.
one of the things I wanted to talk about, which you pointed to, Jacob, earlier, was the science behind it. And really, when we look at the full moon, the moon, or the moon in general, it actually causes the tides to go from high to low, right? Everybody, I feel like, has at least once in their lifetime learned that. And because there is that gravitational pull that generates this tidal force, right? And our body is made of up to 60% of water. Well, it just makes sense that, of course, if it does that to the oceans, we're going to start noticing shifts within our body without realizing it.
Yeah. And back on the day, the shamans and all that people, they also use that shift in gravity to heal people. Because the nutrients that you get inside of your body change based on the energy that you are receiving in your body. So that was before. Well, acupuncture is very old, but it was on Asia. This is on this side of the planet, and that's how. And you can still see that on the indigenous cultures here in America and in Canada. They still follow all the cycles a lot. So and it's for healing purposes. Personally, when I'm working with people, I also notice some shifts there, some shifts depending on the moon cycles as well.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. I remember I believe it was last summer, when it was like a full moon, super moon, blue moon, all the things, and my entire body was just off for 3 days. And so I started researching more. Oh, you're so welcome. He said, thanks for answering. And I started researching more about it, because I'm like, is this really because of the full moon? And that's when I realized that this whole lunatic comes from Luna, and the whole werewolves and everything that actually got created was based off the full moon, because people get more insane or whatnot, where their emotions just get all over the place. So I found that really fascinating, because I had the experience myself and I couldn't understand it, and now it makes complete sense that.
Oh yeah, and it helps you to live life in an easier way, and that's what we are all about. It's like to going back to nature. Going back to what is normal and natural to us. Some of the machines that I use to heal people, the only thing that they do is replicate something that we have in nature, but they are not willing to do it outside, because of comfort or because it's uncomfortable, so the moon cycle is a natural thing. I mean, it's not going to go away, but what we can do is to understand that's for example, if you have a lot of energy during a full moon, it means that you need to burn more energy, right? So if you exercise during a full moon, you are working with the earth. You are working with everything to get better results, And if you are working out on a new moon, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult, right? Why? Because you don't have that extra energy supporting your event or your experience, So just allow yourself to see what happens and understand it and play with it. Play with it. What is the worst thing that can happen? That you feel different or it didn't work for you. Oh, so be it, right? So be it. So just keep playing with it, but always follow nature. And if you follow nature, is like getting into the ocean and allowing yourself to be pushed, to be guided, instead of going against the tide all the time. It's difficult. It's tiring. It's good for exercise, for muscles, but
constantly resisting it rather than going with the flow. And Whenever, like you were pointing to earlier, when we're resisting something, it persists. It doesn't go away until we actually go with the flow, surrender to it, allow it to be, allow us to feel, and then we can actually move through it and get to the next level of where we want to be. Otherwise,
exactly.
it's a constant battle with yourself.
Oh yeah.
And everything around you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's just not fun. When it comes
and just to add, relationships are no different. You know, when you finish when you have nothing else to teach to the people that you are with, and they have nothing else to teach you, it's like kind of like you're resisting and you're pushing the relationship to the limits, and then eventually you're going to start harming each other. You know, what's the point of it? You know, now you don't have to go to that point. You can always get yourself wiser and bring that wiseness to your relationship, and understand that the differences are basically complements. You know, they have what you don't have, you have what they don't have, and then you complement each other out of that, right? And so you can keep adding to the complements that they're missing, and they can keep adding to the complements that you're missing, and embrace each other and help each other. But it's the same. It's just following the laws of nature instead of going against nature.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely. So that was awesome. See if anybody else has questions. Otherwise, if you're looking to get to that next level and clear some of that energy that Jacob was talking about, every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we do exactly that. We do a beautiful routine that you can take on every day. So we start out with that. It's an aura cleansing, energy rebalancing routine, and then we do a deep meditation, and that starts at 7 p.m. until 8 p.m. So we'd love for you to join us. Tonight we're having one, and you can message me or message Jacob, and we'll get you more details on that, and I'll make a post after this as well.
And lastly, you know, we have a workshop coming. Is from empaths. We just have like a limited amount of people that we want to participate. We want to make sure they have the full benefit. The idea is to record this workshop for everybody else in the future. But if you have your own specific things, like for example, if you are really affected by the moon cycles, most likely is because you are an empath. And this is gonna be this workshop is gonna be a process where we're gonna be able to heal that contract, that karmatic contract that you have, and learning how to master your own emotions, and exercises to help you to release the excess of emotion, so you can keep going in a more neutral way.
Yep. And as of now, I believe we're doing it July 26th. So we do have the date, and we'll get more details out. So save the date. It's a Sunday, July 26th, and the details will be coming this week or next week, probably.
Awesome.
Maybe this week. We'll see. It's all about intuition. Whatever intuition says, it will come.
We follow the energy. You see,
exactly.
That's how we work. We follow the energy. You know, we allow things to get dictated to us. Yeah. It's always like that.
Yeah,
okay.
So definitely save that day. And if anybody wants to take their health and well-being to the next level in any way, reach out to us.
I'm gonna mute myself because I'm gonna start having a lot of noise here. So I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay. Yeah, and I was just sharing that anybody that is looking to actually push their selves to the next level and really take on their health and well-being, please feel free to reach out to us. That's what we both do. We're all about really getting people balanced, having that mind, body, and spirit. So feel free to message me, message Jacob, and we can definitely work with you one-on-one as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I don't see any more questions. Thank you for those that participated and engaged with us. Always makes it more fun. And hope to see those that want to join us and are pulled to tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.